Good morning, Breakfast Club family. This is Mark Stevens, your host, Joe Shoup. Welcome to the Breakfast Club. For any new people that are here today, welcome. And for those that come back every Tuesday, welcome. Got a great program for you today. We're going to move right into it. Joe, how you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thanks. And yes, you're right. When you go live, you can actually go in and see those things. I see it. They must have changed that on the platform. But good morning, everyone. Let me tell you, we're going to cut this real short today. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving this week. Enjoy and celebrate what we actually have in this country. I know I'm one of the people that complain about things in this country at times, the way things get run, and without getting into politics. But the truth is, we live in a great nation. We really do. I've been to other places, and I know that it's difficult to fathom how they operate in other countries. At least we have a fair shake here most of the time. So we celebrate that coming up, and I'm thankful for that myself. But Mark, yesterday I was talking to someone, one of my neighbors, and they asked me what I did. And of course, you know the answer to that. I told them what I do is I help people. I teach them how to be successful working from home. It's what we do. And ironically, we discussed a few things. They had asked me actually about carrot bars because some other people here had said something to them about it here in our complex. And they actually, it's a couple, a little younger than me, and they are on the road a lot because they're truck drivers. And the two of them work together, husband and wife. They've been together for almost 40 years. And they work together going on trips, taking things in their big truck to various places across the United States. They've been everywhere through the South. They've been to Greenville and Alabama and so on. And she kind of runs the company. It's their company. They don't work for anybody else, but they're independent contractors. She runs the company by getting all of the contracts and decides and determines where they go. And she was describing, she asked me, it's funny, she asked me carrot bars, and we discussed it a little bit and how you get paid. And I said, well, you get paid in direct proportion to the effort you put forth. She said, yeah, it's just like us. She said to me, it's kind of like a pyramid thing, huh? Because that's their perception, Mark. She didn't mean it in any negative way at all. She just meant that other people get paid, you get paid, somebody else gets paid, and that's what she meant. But ironically, she's interested in carrot bars now because the way their pay is structured, the same exact way. She described how the contractor, how the dispatcher, and everybody gets paid based on their trip. And I thought it was interesting that she said, oh, we get paid like that too. If you don't work, you don't eat. She goes, we get paid in direct proportion to the effort you put forth too. If we don't work, we don't make any money. And so, ironically, we got on that same plane without even trying to. She found her way, without me trying to, she found her way saying, I'm really interested in this because this is how we operate as well. It's the same thing, except we're driving a truck and you're doing that. And I thought it was very, very interesting that the perception was what I would intend for a person to have. And we know that terminology creates perception. The language you use determines the perception that person receives, and that perception had better make sense to them. Had I gone into all the details about websites and how you get paid in a dual system and so on, I would have lost them, Mark. They never would have related the two businesses as being similar. So I think it's just so important that we look at the terminology. It's what we teach all the time is, the terminology that we use creates a perception. So learning how to answer the question, what is it that you do? I don't know that everybody, without the class, of course, knows how to handle that and would have been able to be successful explaining to someone new what it is that they do. I would imagine they would have had a major discussion about carrot bars and Germany and, how the gold is distributed, how you can buy it on cards. I didn't even show them the card, but I did discuss carrot bars a little bit. I told them that basically the company, what they do, the company, one of the companies I represent, kind of like them because they have contracts with lots of different people. And I said, well, the company you're asking me about, I said, they made it available for the average person to acquire gold in small amounts. And they lit up when they heard that. That's all I had to say. That's all I said about carrot bars, Mark. So I thought that was interesting that they related that. And I said, that's just one of the companies that I represent. We didn't even get into anything else. And we stopped that conversation about carrot bars. It wasn't about that. Right. It was about having a successful business from home, which is what they do now. Now they have another option.
And that's great because, see, like you said, they weren't like poo-poo in the industry, basically what they were saying, well, we're like that too. We get compensated on different levels. And what they mean is by, like you say, the dispatcher who gets the contract, who does the driving and things like that. But again, it all comes back to what we've been saying. It's about, having a successful business working from home. It doesn't matter what company. If you're working from home, you have a home-based business.
I'm going to try to screen share as you're talking, Mark. So go ahead. I'm just going to grab it and click entire screen and see what that does. And I'm going to take you over to and click share. Tell me what you see when I do this.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Quotes and phrases.
Okay, cool. All right. So you see it. All right. I'm going to go into
So as you were saying about that terminology, again, no matter where you are, what you're doing, you have to be prepared to answer when somebody asks you that type of question. And you have to answer it in the correct manner, or you can give them the wrong perception.
Yeah, most people want to just keep talking, about their business, hoping. I know I was there at one time, Mark, hoping that they were going to hear what I wanted them to hear and that they would be interested in what I was saying. And we all know that just because you're talking don't mean they're listening.
Right.
This is part of the new version of the class, the networking communication class. And this is the opening slide to this section. So we get to the end of where it used to be the end of the class, now goes into this section. People understanding what their business strategy is, because you have to have one. And that strategy means your language. Had I not had a strategy last night, I would have fumbled. Had I not understood who I was in that process and what it is that I actually do, I would have lost them. Mark, most people are not being successful using leads, sending out their websites. They're just not. So they do talk to people they know. They meet, and they just don't know how to get that conversation on a professional level.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking about that earlier today and a lot yesterday, because I will, like I said, I'm always going to be honest and open with you. The successes that I was having doing that, I'm not having those successes as often anymore. And it's because of the fact that a lot of people these days are not really opening up their emails.
Yeah.
And if they're not opening up their emails, you can have the greatest funnel in the world. If nobody goes into it or whatever, it's not doing you any good. So the thing is you have to look at your business model. And like I see up here, what is your business strategy? Maybe you have to change the strategy. So
Yes.
I'll let you deal with that based on, because I didn't know what you were going to say, but I found that out. And then, but then, you know, with myself, I love for people to ask me, what do I do? Because I love being out as opposed to sitting behind this computer, you know, just, you know, doing mailings. And I've put together some great pieces that have brought me, you know, some very interesting inquiries and everything like that. But nowadays it's almost like, again, people, you know, when the iPhone came in and things like that, they started using different things. So they're not using the computer as much as well.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm going to talk right at the end. I'm going to close this, so stay tuned, people. With you know, I'm not going to say a whole lot about it, but there is a strategy that I'm working with our marketing company, Tools Rock, and Anson and Jennifer, with this other strategy. And like I think I said last week, I connected with a very, very major lead company, and not this kind of leads that one would think. So I have a business strategy with this that I incorporated many, many years ago that developed a $40,000 a month income. And I am very, very excited because we are about to launch this opening part of the campaign. But that's, again, a business strategy. Just take a look at what it says here. If you can't see where you're going, you surely aren't going to get there. That's why you need a business plan, a clear, convincing, tangible roadmap that will attract the people you are looking for and help them be successful as well. Here are the elements of any sound business plan. Now, let's go back over this again. Let's just read this again. Convincing, a clear, convincing, tangible roadmap. That's your plan. That's for you. Convincing yourself that you're doing the right thing. It also means communicating. It also means talking. It doesn't mean just sending out information and hoping that, you know, you're heard. For some reason, Mark, I'm going to take a break. Go ahead and talk a minute. I've got to see why this call's coming in.
okay, yeah. Again, when you talk about this business strategy, the industry is changing, and there are people that continually want to do the same thing. But as many of you have heard me say many times, time and time again, that change is inevitable. And if you're not willing to, if there's no change, there's no progress. So you have to be willing to change in order to move your business forward. And the way that I normally conduct my business is simply this: wherever the market is headed and where I find this best for me and that type of progress, that's where I head. And as many of you heard me say in the last few months, that I have always enjoyed being out, pressing the flesh, if you will, talking to people, meeting interesting people and just talking. And then eventually something may come up in the conversation. Well, you know, do you live around here? Or do you work around here? Or what do you do? Or whatever. And so and I'm already making my plans for the coming year, which is not being in this computer, but being out in public and just going places and meeting and talking to people, business owners or just anybody. The other thing is this, is that I will, you know, my plan is to go into coffee shops and places like Starbucks and different coffee houses and things like that, because guess what? You will meet people in there they have their computers with them because they're doing something. It may pertain to their jobs or just what they're doing. And then the thing is that somehow you start a conversation, or, you know, you may look up and somebody's looking at you, and you smile with them or smile at them or whatever like that and say hello or whatever like that. And then it starts a conversation. And then, you know, you may ask them, well, do you live around here? You know, And the thing is that these places I plan on frequenting. In other words, certain days of the week I plan on being at certain places. So I may see the same people, and then they say, well, you're like here every week that I'm here. Do you work around here? Do you live around here? And they ask that question. The magic question is, what do you do? What do you do for a living? Or who are you? What do you do? And again, the magic answer is I teach people how to have a successful business working from home. Have you ever had a successful business working from home? Even though they're sitting in the Starbucks or whatever, the coffee house or whatever it is, the question remains the same, and that is online and offline, but I prefer to do it offline. And again, the key is being able to have the right terminology and give the right perception. So the key is, again, what is your business strategy? Sometimes you have to change it. And again, change is inevitable. If there's no change, there's no progress. And the question is, what are you willing to do, to change your business strategy if it needs to be changed? And when Joe gets back, I guess he will probably.
No, I'm back. I'm back, buddy. I thought someone was calling me to tell me that something was wrong with the screen. Can you go over to the board and see if anybody is having a problem with the screen? I don't think they are, but.
Do you have the chat on? I don't see anything in the chat, but.
It should be on. Yeah.
So if anybody, they can put in the chat that you are seeing the screen, because I'm seeing it perfectly.
All right. So here's the conclusion to this. You have a roadmap that will attract the people you're looking for. What do we always say? Don't try to interest people. Find the interested party. Attract the people that you're looking for. Not interest people that you're not really interested in yourself. Honest, ambitious, work well with others. That's what you're looking for.
That's the criteria. That's it right there.
Again, help them be successful. What did we say? We teach people how to be successful working from home. I didn't make this paragraph up, by the way. I pulled this from a business strategy. So there's something very interesting to think about.
Yeah. You must have a game plan. If you aim at nothing, you will hit it that is a very profound and true statement. If you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time. That's almost like be careful in the direction that you're headed, right, John?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to do this real quick. In order to get paid, your products and services have to move from manufacturer to consumer. Money's made when you get in the middle of that transaction. It happens in every business, anywhere, every place, every time. That's how you get paid. In direct proportion to the effort you put forth, of course. But something has to happen. A transaction has to happen. I don't care what it is. Money has to move from one place to another to get paid. And you got to get in the middle of it. Either make it happen, cause it to happen, somehow get in the middle of that.
And you have to make it move towards you. Am I correct, Joe?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because that's when commissions are paid. Online, offline, brick and mortar. You have to, like you said last week, I think you mentioned if you had a shoe store or something like that, you have to let people know you're in business, but you have to do things to make that money move towards you.
No question about it. So you have to, in our business, we have to set up the people locations where products and services move. That's bottom line. We set up the locations and it moves through the efforts of others. That's our plan. I cause that to happen because if I recruit Bob or Tom or Mary or Susan and they have transactions, I caused that to happen. I didn't make it happen. I wasn't the one who talked to their person who's now having transactions, but I caused it to happen. I got in the middle. So your immediate goals have to be, you have to learn how to move a few products and then learn how to find and locate people who are interested in operating a successful business from home. And that's what it takes. to establish and operate a business. You have to tell people you're actually in business. You have to be prepared to communicate verbally. And you have to decide whether this is a legitimate candidate you're talking to instead of trying to interest them over and over and over again. You can do that with an autoresponder, just keep sending them letters. But to spend your time thinking just because they even registered for the company still doesn't mean they're an interested party. They got some interest. But until they go get a package and start getting involved, not going to happen. This is not the interested party. Expand your business. Find people locations. So here's the business basics: ideas, business plan, implementation, success. That has to be the plan. You have to do marketing. You have to have goals. You have to have money to do it. Even though we don't need, you don't have to pay to join some of the companies out there. You still have to have marketing tools. You have to have some money to make your business work. You have to take some risks with that. You must have a strategy. And this is very interesting. We'll cover this next week. We will be here next week after Thanksgiving, but we'll pick this up next week, and hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. We'll go over all these next week. And there it goes. But we'll cover that, all those basics on exactly what to do in your business. This is a great time to start thinking about getting your business off the ground if you're not where you want to be. Just be careful of the direction that you are actually going. You might end up where you're headed. So with that, I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Mark, you too. We'll talk a little bit. I'm going to be on here when we're done, so we'll spend a few minutes. But as you know, I got to run out of here. And you as well. So thanks for being here, everybody. I hope you have a great day, and we will see you next week at the Breakfast Club. For Mark Stevens, this is Joe Shoup. Have a great day, everybody.
Peace and blessings, everyone.